and my parents didn't know, but I was also psychologically abused, and my parents didn't know it. They acted a certain way with me, especially my dad. My dad acted a certain way with me, not knowing that the way that he would act affected me, and it would continue to affect me until my 30s, which I'm now. So I'm still young. But with you, you went through your traumas as well, especially in foster care, and what's going on between your mom and your dad. Can you tell us a little bit more about the trauma that you went through, the traumas, plural, that you went through? Is that a word, traumas, or trauma?
Traumas.
Trauma?
I guess you can say traumas. Yeah, traumas.
Okay, traumas.
More
plural.
than one trauma.
More than one trauma that you went through, growing up in foster care and things like that.
I'm still trying to figure out if traumas is a word.
I don't think traumas is a word.
Trauma? Isn't trauma like...
I think trauma is also is singular and plural at the same time. I'm not an English major.
Oh.
So.
Trauma is a singular form. The plural forms of the same are traumas and traumata on a standardized basis. Okay. So there's traumas. Okay. Let's not add that because then it'll make us look unprofessional. Okay.
It's our first podcast.
So there was more stuff that happened there. Like there was some sexual harassment that happened in foster care.
Are you okay talking about this?
I think you might have to give a warning, maybe?
Disclaimer.
A disclaimer in the beginning.
And what should I say in the disclaimer?
For mature audiences, maybe.
Okay.
And maybe give a warning that we're talking about certain things that might trigger.
Warning. We're going to be right now talking about certain things that might trigger some people out there. But this is the experience of my wife. She was in foster care, and there are certain things. And I think foster care is known for this, isn't it?
I mean, a lot of people have experienced certain abuse in foster care.
Like sexual abuse? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're going to be talking about this. And this is the experience of my wife. This is my wife's experience in her past. And so we're going to be... We're just going to warn you guys that there are going to be some issues and some things that my wife is going to say that might be triggering to some of you guys, but we are going to try our best to just chill on some of those things. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of those things happen after foster care, but there were some things, like my sisters would mention that the foster dad tried to kiss them on the lips, and they thought that was strange. And then I remember one instance where this guy would come over. I didn't know who it was. I guess it was a family friend. He was around 16 or 17, and he would put me on his lap. And I didn't think anything of it because I'm a kid, but there was something strange that he would do, and it was that he kind of like had the door partially closed, partially open, and whenever someone would pass by, he would push me off him. So I thought that was strange. And thinking about it, when I was older, I could only imagine that he was probably trying to do something by me being on his lap. I don't know what it was, but...
So you were confused about the whole thing?
Yeah.
When did you realize that, that thing that happened in the past, that was actually something...
Maybe when I started being a teenager and started learning about all these things that, people do, and started learning more about, should I say the word? sex?
Yeah.
That feels weird. Started learning more about the body and...
Started learning more about sex.
I guess I'll say that. And just so people understand, just so that the audience understands, this is part of the reason why I'm really reserved and have a hard time showing myself on camera. And even those who have met me in person, I'm very quiet and shy and anxious because a lot of the experience that I've gone through have affected me in the way where I'm very how do you say? It's hard for me to get close to people. It takes me a while to make sure that I can trust. And
yeah.
I don't want to be that way, but I do have my walls up a lot of the time because of what I've gone through. That's just the tip of the iceberg. It's not even like the whole thing. This is foster care, and what happened after foster care is what really was traumatic for me. And this was when things shifted and there was more sexual abuse that happened, but it was a very close family member, and it is the reason why I am the way I am now. I'm really anxious. I have a lot of social anxiety because when you get abused in not just a sexual way, but also physically and mentally abused, it becomes hard for people to trust. Because if you get abused by someone so close to you, then how can you expect to trust anyone when you couldn't even trust someone that was supposed to protect you?
Yeah, and that's understandable for you to be reserved and for you to have your walls up, and the way that you've grown up with foster care, and then with family members or just one with family member, and there's sexual abuse going on. Of course, I think anybody would feel like they can't trust anybody, especially if it's a man, if it's a man or a boy or whatever. They wouldn't be able to trust, and they would probably, just like you, probably be reserved. Probably just, before interacting with another person or another boy or another man, you'd probably, just like how we met, you would, I think this is what you were doing with me. You would, how do you call that? Put your feet in the water just to test the water. And that a lot of that happened between me and you. And that's understandable. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that went through the same thing. And so because of that, you are more reserved and you're more introverted.